Hey guys, it's Rachel here. How you doing? Hope you're well. Today we're going to tackle the second part of the nutrition section of the course. So we're on week 3 now, and today I'm going to cover with you some information on micronutrients, variety, and just some basic nutrition tips that you can start to put into place as well. So it gives you a bit more to work on this week. But first of all, we're just going to recap on last week's information, last week's course content. So last week we covered macronutrients and why they're important. I would like you to just consider these questions now, just before we move on to the next part of the course, and just have a little think and see if you can actually answer these questions for me while I'm reading them out. So can you remember what macronutrients are? So what are they and why are they important? So we learned this last week, and you should know the answer to this now. So we have 3 macronutrients, if you remember correctly. We have protein, carbohydrates and fat. So can you remember why you need each one and what they do? Hopefully you can. Hopefully that's given you a bit of time just to think about that. So remember, protein is the building blocks of your muscles and helps you to repair and recover from exercise. Protein is very, very important in your diet, and making sure that you have a portion of protein at every meal is important as well, whether that comes from plants or animals. Carbohydrate is one of your energy macronutrients, so carbohydrates will be your body's preferred source of energy, and it will metabolize these first for energy. So it's important we have carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are something that are demonized a lot at the moment, and you may think that you need to have a low carb diet in order to lose weight, but that's not necessarily true. If you are very active, then carbohydrates are going to be a very important part of your diet. And then we have fat as well, which is another energy macronutrient. It is much more calorie dense, so that's why the portion size of healthy fats is always a bit smaller than your protein and carbohydrates. You need fat for lots of different reasons. You need fat to have the ability to have nice cell walls, and we all have millions of cells, so we need that for the structure of the cells. We also need it for things like optimally functioning hormones, and also helps keep your hair, nails and skin looking very lovely. So we need to have a balance of all these things, and hopefully understand why that is now. So we're going to talk about micronutrients today, and this is where fruit and veg take the stage. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the different types of micronutrients and why it's so important that we get a variety in our diet. So fruit, vegetables and herbs. If you hear me talking about plants, that's what I'm talking about, a collective name for fruits, vegetables and herbs, and they all contain micronutrients which are vital to our overall health. So they come in the form of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients, bioflavonoids, and we're also going to cover fibre as well today. So just in case you haven't heard of phytonutrients, you might not have heard of them before. They are basically natural chemicals found in plants. So the word phyto is actually a Greek word for plant. And these kind of chemicals, they help to protect plants from things like bugs and germs and fungi and all that kind of stuff. So you'll find them in plants, you'll find them in whole grains, nuts, beans, and also in tea as well. And they are essential for keeping you alive. All right, so they are essential. Yes, as are everything else here. So let's look at the micronutrient rainbow. This is what I call it. Fruits, vegetables and herbs, so plants, fall into 5 different colour categories. So we've got red, we've got yellow and orange, green, blue and purple, and then white and brown. So all plants fall into one of these 5 categories. The reason that they are different colours is because of the following. So I'm just going to explain it a little bit more to you. So red fruit and veg, they contain a natural pigment called lycopene, which is also a powerful antioxidant, which helps to do things like reduce the risk of cancer and contribute towards a healthy heart as well. Orange and yellow plants are given their colour by carotenoids. You might have heard of a carotenoid called beta-carotene. It's probably the one that's most widely known. You'll find that in things like sweet potatoes and carrots, things like that. And it's converted to vitamin A, which is vitally important for things like eye health as well. And then we've got green, which you should be very familiar with by now, and it's packed full of cancer-fighting phytochemicals, which we spoke about before, and they also include carotenoids as well. Leafy green vegetables are a really good source of things like folate and nitrate, which is super important for energy levels and also benefits blood health as well. Brown and white plants are an excellent source of antiviral and natural antibacterial nutrients such as allicin, which is found in garlic. So you may have heard of garlic being a really good natural antiviral, and you can actually get garlic in tablets now. I think a lot of people take them when they have the cold and flu and things like that because they are a natural antiviral. So then that leaves us with that purpley blue colour, and that is anthocyanin, which is a pigment that gives your fruit and veg that dark purpley blue colour. So things like aubergine, blueberries, all your dark berries. I'm trying to think of anything else that's a kind of purpley blue colour, but I'll leave that up to you. It's an antioxidant. It helps to protect cells from free radical damage, so you might have heard of that before. It reduces the risk of stroke, cancer and cardiovascular disease as well. So hopefully you can see now why it's so important and why I always ask you to get a wide variety of different plants and not to eat the same one over and over and over, so that you can get the powerful combination of different micronutrients, so that you have that super powerful combination of antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer and anti-cardiovascular disease mixture of different nutrients in your diet, so that you get the best possible health benefits. So yeah, like I've just mentioned, we must get as much variety in different colours and types of plants as possible. So you're aiming for about 8 to 10 varieties and portions of plants a day. It's important for your overall health, and it's also important for your for the health of your gut as well in the long term. So we will cover gut health in the coming weeks in more detail, but at the moment all you need to know is the importance of getting lots of different varieties. So one way you could do this is just to have a certain variety of fruit and veg one week, and then the next week try to change it up a little bit again and just rotate as much as possible. So here are just some nutrition tips that I'd like you to start to implement moving forward. It's not something that we do in T21, and it's not something we've really done up until now. And that is to start keeping a food diary. The reasons for this will become apparent in the future, but you can either do this as a written food diary if you prefer to write things down, or you can start to log your food on an app like MyFitnessPal. There are other ones out there, but I find MyFitnessPal is the most common and it's the easiest to use. And I'll also be putting a bonus into this week's content, and that will be your MyFitnessPal training videos as well, so that you know how to use it properly, because there is a good way to use it and there is a not so good way to use it. It'll help you to sort of see what you eat on a typical day, which is quite interesting, and it will help you to track patterns between what you eat and your energy levels. It will help you to track other patterns like between what you eat and how you feel, what you eat and your hunger levels, that kind of thing. And it also helps to track cravings and see if there's a pattern as well there. And it can also be useful to identify intolerances to certain foods. It's also good so that you can see if you're being consistent. So if things are not moving as quickly as you would like them to, it's always a good idea to look back over your food diary and say, right, well, maybe I can change this, maybe this is not working for me. And it's a good way of moving forward, is to start keeping a food diary. So that's going to be part of your homework for this week. Speaking of which, you are going to, this week, tasks for this week and homework is to start and record a food diary using either the worksheet provided in the Dropbox folder along with this video, or by using an app like MyFitnessPal. Again, bonus videos are available in this week's content. And then pick one new recipe to try this week and report back in the Facebook group with photos. So I would like you to pick something that you haven't tried before, that maybe contains some plants that you haven't tried before, or something that you haven't had for a while, so that you can get that variety in there. And that is it for this week, everyone. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next training video.